Welcome back to TK Civics. So every single American knows that our government has been fully corrupted by special interest groups, corporations, billionaires, lobbyists, and all the existing politicians. And the most common question I've been getting in the comments is, so what's the plan? So in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what the strategy is and what the plan is. So the strategy is quite simple. It's to create a mass movement of regular Americans that want to force change. It's our collective responsibility to come together and fix it. And that's why I created TK Civics. So let's talk about the plan and a few of the specifics. And it aligns with the first part of the strategy, is we need to create a mass movement or a collective movement of regular people that want to force change. So how do you do that? Well, you grow a community and you grow a movement. And there's no logical place more than social media where we can start that process. And the first goal and the first plan is to grow these channels and accounts to over 1 million followers and subscribers, because that's when you hit network effects and where the rate of compound or growth will start to increase. Then once we get to 1 million, we'll continue our march to get to tens of millions of Americans. Now, like I said, there's no more logical place to do that in social media. If Mr. Beast can have hundreds of millions of followers and subscribers and Mark Rober, I believe a civics channel can do the same. And needless to say, it's far more important that we do so. The first step is that TK Civics needs to go viral. And the fact is, I have no desire to be a content creator. But if people are resonating with the message that I'm trying to share with everyone, then I'll continue to do so. And you might ask, why am I doing this? Why do I want to do this? Well, I don't want to do it. I'm just like you. I'm frustrated and disappointed in our government, and I know someone needs to make change. That no politician or no billionaire is ever going to change it for us. So it's going to take a regular American and regular Americans to do the heavy lifting. And so I don't necessarily want to do this, but I do have the political and technical acumen to make this happen. But there's a problem with this strategy. As we grow on social media, we may be at the mercy of the moderators and the terms of service of these companies. And that's not something that'll work. So we need to solve that problem. And that's where my technical acumen comes into play. For decades, I've been building web and mobile applications, messaging applications, and social media platforms. And at some point, as TK Civics grows across social media platforms, we're going to have to diversify away from these corporations and the potential threat of being shut down. So me and my team have already built a messaging application that we can leverage in due time to move people away from social media so that we can communicate with this growing movement. Now, there's a side benefit of that solution, is that we have a messaging and social media platform. And my mission is to make that messaging platform and the company a socially responsible or social first company. And that means we're going to be able to leverage that messaging platform for the greater good. And at some point, we may need money to fund elections and to fund candidates. And that's where that company will invest at least 50% of all of its profits back to this mission. The social media landscape is ruled by a lot of scumbags and billionaires that have no interest in the greater good. And I know exactly how to change that if we have enough support. So that moves us on to the next step of the plan. As we scale and grow the community, at some point we'll need to recruit regular Americans to serve in public office temporarily with the explicit mission to remove corruption from our government. And while these will be regular Americans with non-political backgrounds, they just can't be anyone. They'll have to be knowledgeable and educated and truly wanting to serve the best interests of the people. And that'll mean they'll have to take pledges to American values. And at the very least, they'll have to pass the same naturalization and civics tests that immigrants do. And they'll need a clear grasp and understanding of geopolitics and history. And most importantly, they need to have moral integrity, character, and trustworthiness. And they can't be coming into government to serve their own best interests. Which leads us on to the next problem. Even if we can achieve a mass movement and community, how can we ensure these people get elected? Because we have no party. Well, there's 3 ways that you can potentially do it. First one is people could run as independents, but we all know that's challenging, that the existing Republican and Democratic parties have an enormous amount of influence in our political infrastructure. But it's certainly not impossible to elect independents. There have been dozens of cases where independents have been elected to governorships and many other positions. It's just so that we've been mostly manipulated into thinking independents can't win. It is certainly very difficult, and I'm not suggesting that's the way we'll do this. It's just one option. The second option is we can start a new party, but that is also very challenging. The mass movement will have to be really powerful. And for those people who think that you can only have the Democratic or Republican Party, that's not true. History has been full of other parties, from the Federalist Party to the Know Nothing Party to the Whig Party and many others. While it is difficult, it's not impossible to start a new party so long as you have the support. Then there's also a third way, and you just have to look to MAGA to see how it was done. There is no more Republican Party. It's the MAGA Party, and it's been taken over by Donald Trump and MAGA. But that doesn't mean there can't be the same equal and opposite reaction on the other side. You can certainly infiltrate and take over an existing party, just like Donald Trump and MAGA did. Donald Trump couldn't have done it on his own. It required the movement of MAGA to allow him to take over the Republican Party. And the beauty of this plan is we don't have to make that decision now. The plan can change depending on the size and the growth of the movement. Now here's the thing. So many people in the comments mention it's impossible, it'll never happen. But you've just been manipulated into thinking that. As a matter of fact, it is a certainty that it can happen and that it will happen, but it requires a large enough movement. It's not that it can't happen, it's just that it hasn't happened. And big and bold ideas always seem impossible until they become possible. The wealthy and the powerful may have a lot of influence and a lot of money, but there's one thing more powerful than any of that, and that's the collective movement of people. And it's all of our responsibility as citizens of the United States. You have to remember that our entire identity of Americans has been built in fighting for our independence and freedom. And remember, the entire political system and everything around us has been built by people. And that means people can also change it. So if you're interested in standing up to corruption and you want to restore our representative democracy back to the people, please join me and TK Civics and let's make it happen. Let's poke America.